and the answers that are being provided.
Sorry, I had those.
That's right. And like I said, it is being recorded, so all of this can be watched by the community as well. If y'all want to circle back around or share it with your neighbors and so forth, you're welcome to do so. So Sarah, you want to get started on 415 Johns Road?
Yes, and we also have the applicant online.
Great. So I am the planning director. Sarah Seha Bennett is the planner that is working with the Planning and Zoning Commission and the applicant with regard to the request. So Sarah, you want to describe kind of what they're thinking about?
Yes. So Mr. Wheeler has the property of 415 Johns Road and currently is on R1M. He already has accessory structure in the back, and it's a shed. And his request is to take that shed and make it into an accessory dwelling. Every lot on a R1M that is less than half an acre and wish to have an accessory dwelling needs to go through the special use permit process. The process itself, it's similar to the zoning. It goes to Planning and Zoning Commission once, and it goes to City Council. P&Z makes a recommendation to City Council, and City Council has a final decision on the matter. So Willa, do you want to explain exactly what do you want to do with the site?
You want to show the site plan or the
Yes,
survey?
I have it open in one of the 1500 tabs. Let me
Just so people can get an idea. So an accessory dwelling, just so everybody understands the rules and regulations with regard to that, is that a individual property owner can have an accessory dwelling on their site with special use permit if they're smaller than a half acre. If they're larger than a half acre, they don't have to ask for the special use permit, but they have to live in one of the structures. So they could potentially rent this out if they chose to. They can rent out the main structure and live in the small one. They can rent out the small one and live in the main one. They don't have to rent it. I mean, it's just a choice. I know in this case, he is considering renting the little structure and back, but they have to live in one or the other. They can't rent both of those out. So do you kind of want to describe, sir, what your intentions are for the accessory dwelling?
Absolutely. Thank you, Laura. Okay, I have a 15 by 12 workshop, essentially. It's a storage building in my backyard. And I'd like to convert that into a dwelling, an apartment, which would be a 1-room, 1-bathroom apartment. And my idea is to offer that to a struggling young mom who is in need of a low-cost apartment rental. They're kind of difficult to find in this town, so I thought I'd offer this up at this point to try to help her out. And this seemed like a perfect opportunity to do that. It's my shop currently. It's not conditioned, and so I'd turn it into a conditioned small living space.
Somewhat like an efficiency apartment.
Certainly.
Right. It's all one room. You've got a restroom and a small kitchen area.
Right.
Okay. You want to go back to the site plans here?
And so we occupy the main house, and we'll stay here and then offer this small apartment as needed. And I understand right now the need is pretty strong, so I'd like to get started on this thing as soon as I can, and I think it'll get occupied fairly quickly. Mm-hmm. We're not planning on changing any of the outward appearance of the building to be different than the house. It's going to be hardy siding like the house and a shingle roof. So fairly simple. It'll look exactly like the house with the same color and everything. Great.
So no floodplain on the property. So they're outside of any floodplain. They're pretty close over there, but they're out. This particular piece of property is outside of the floodplain. And it's just an expansion of the existing shed into an apartment-like accessory dwelling.
I'm sorry.
I
I was just going to point out, so the accessory dwelling requirements ask for a parking space. And part of the special use permit, as it is site specific, and the applicant doesn't wish to increase the impervious cover of the site, just what's required. He's
And he
gonna
has a
look-
separate little space for it already, right? Yeah.
Yes,
we have
so this
lots of-
area would be separated, set aside for a parking pad for the user of the structure.
Exactly. On that side of our garage currently.
Great, thank you. Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Wheeler or Sarah? You can either just speak up if you'd like. There's not that many people on the meeting, or if you want to virtually raise your hand, we'll call on you. Anybody have any questions? If not, we'll move on to the next subject. I don't see anybody, Mr. Wheeler.
Thank you, Laura. Thank you, Sarah.
You want to hang on, you're welcome to. If you want to sign off, you can as well.
Okay, thank you.
You bet. What's our next item, Sarah?
Sorry. The next item is the Curry Creek Church rezoning. Let me just open the maps for that one. Just a second, please. I'm having to go there because the maps are not complete yet.
Perfection. Do you want me to see if I can open some?
It's okay. Now I'll share just the GIS will be faster.
Okay.
Can you see my GIS map?
ma'am.
Okay. So the property located at 35, 37, and 45 Cascade Cavern currently all belongs to the Curry Creek Church. And currently the north section is on C3, the southern section is on C1. And the section that is number 35, it's part of the ETJ. The whole process is going to be annexing the 37 Cascade Cavern and rezoning the whole site from C1, C3, and holding to civic and institutional.
So civic and institutional is really specifically, it's a new zoning that we created with the Unified Development Code. And it was specifically set aside for churches, schools, because they're unique in that they usually have a main structure, and then they have all these outbuildings. The commercial zoning districts don't allow multiple, and I'm probably not giving the detail that I should, but don't allow the multiple outbuildings where the civic does. So rather than coming back and asking for variances or special use permits or exceptions to the rules again and again and again, ideally you want to see a church in a civic zoning category. They are annexing the properties that Sarah mentioned as well. So the zonings are all going to run together at the same time. The C1 would convert to a civic, the C3 will convert to a civic, and those properties being annexed will initially get the holding zoning, and then they would convert to a civic with this zoning request. And of course, properties that are not annexed now have to be brought into the city first, and then the zoning will occur. But we're going to speak to it as a whole picture so that everybody understands, you know, how it all comes together. Do you want to add to that, Sarah? Probably.
No, that basically explains what the request is. And we have Jared here. It's a representative of one of the church right at this point, and also Stuart is online to talk more about the request.
Great. Do either of y'all want to make any comments beyond what we've stated?
This is Jared. No, I don't have anything to really add. Just here if you have any questions.
Yeah, this is Stuart, one of the pastors at Curry Creek, and I think my understanding from what you've described, that's essentially what we're trying to do. Is we've in the last several years purchased some additional property, the 37 there, and then another one as well. And so some of it's in the city, some of it's not, some of it's zoned properly, some of it's not. And so just kind of trying to get it all cleaned up a little bit and all under that civic zoning.
Right. And then beyond this, beyond the zoning. So first we want to get the appropriate zoning for the site, but they're going to come back in and we're going to assess their platting and see how they need to plat. We look at drainage, detention, all of that stuff at that point. Right now, it's just a determination of the correct zoning for the property as a whole.
Just one more information about the zoning, the current zoning and the requested zoning. So a C1 zoning category allows for 75% of impervious cover. The C3 is 85%, and civic is 70%. So that is going to apply for the whole site, and independent of the percentage of impervious cover that they add, they still have to do all the LID and detention things, like issues that our regulation requires.
Great. So there's actually less impervious cover allowed once they get the civic zoning. And then we'll look at it as a whole with platting.
Lance, do you have questions?
I see your hand up.
Yes. Hi, Laura.
Hey.
Hi, Sarah. I'm clear on the annexation here, and I'm also clear on the alignment with the UDC. Can you just clarify again how many parcel acquisitions are going on here, and if any kind of development plan has been submitted or preliminary development plan?
Sure. Sarah, you want to show again, kind of do a little circle what's being annexed?
Is that number 37?
Yeah,
Yes.
37 and the one to the south.
Yeah, 37. This one is being annexed, and this two here will be all zone civic, and that's the request.
Also, 37 Cascade Caverns Road has been fragmented. It's just got to be recombined or.
Well,
So this map is currently the 37, the whole parcel it was replatted, I believe in 2020 to one single parcel, but the layer that we have, the parcel still has it divided. If you go for the appraisal district map, you're going to see that this parcel over here has a legal description. It's I think it's J&J Acres Lot 2A, and this one doesn't have anything, but the total acreage of both sites are listed on the legal description of the parcel north of it.
right. So what we have to use when we're describing it gets a little confusing. What we have to use when we're describing it is the legal description per the appraisal district. Sometimes they're not spot on, but we're required to use it.
But currently it's technically ununified, those two parcels.
I think it actually, Sarah, do I understand correctly? It actually is one lot.
Oh, okay.
However, and I may be wrong, Lance, hold on. However, the
This is the
appraisal
appraisals.
shows it as two.
Yeah, this is the appraisal website, and there are two things. One is the legal description information, and the other is the GIS layer with the polylines that generate the parcel. And you can have a parcel with one legal description that has 2 or 3 property ID Kendall County appraisal district information like this ones that you have a small residential and the rest of it is zoned
Oh,
as
that's right.
agriculture or something like that.
That's right, that's right. Yeah.
But when
Those
you
are-
look
those
at
are-
the,
Those are kind of notional. Okay, yeah.
Mhm.
So
But legally,
what, so
that's
what about development plan? Is there, do we have any kind of preliminary development plan for this 37 Cascade Caverns Road?
we've not seen anything yet, Lance, but I'll let the gentleman speak to that. Do y'all have any plans for these properties yet?
Yes, there is a desired plan for a larger auditorium. We have a current auditorium that we are, Boerne's obviously a growing community and we're a growing church. And so we've got, we're running out of space, we're running out of seats. And so we're looking to expand our auditorium and build a larger auditorium and turn our current auditorium into our student ministry space. And so that's essentially our desired development plan. There wouldn't be any other uses for the property besides the church, and we don't have any plans for schools or daycares or anything like that. It is solely for church purposes, for worship services on Sunday mornings primarily, but also some student ministry of services and things like that on Wednesday evening.
So no anticipated upsizing of the student body at the school?
No, so this is a Curry Creek Church, so we're not associated with any school.
Oh, I thought you guys had a school. I'm sorry. Okay.
No problem. No, we don't even have any sort of Mother's Day out or day school or anything like that. We're just we have student ministry on Wednesday nights and then services on Sunday morning. That we're just long-term plan would be to build a larger auditorium to provide and accommodate some of that additional growth that we're all experiencing here in Boerne.
Yeah, no, guys, I'm not trying to beat you up or anything. I'm the cave guy down the road.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Cascade Caverns.
Yeah, just identifying myself, so I'm not some guy asking a bunch of nosy questions.
No problem.
But you guys, I got to say something. You guys are a real asset to the community, and everybody loves your church.
Oh, well, fantastic. Thank you so much for saying that.
And those are all my questions, Laura.
Great. Thank you, Lance. Does anybody else have any questions? I see no hands. Great. Well, thank y'all very much. We'll move on to the next item. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Laura.
You bet.
I don't see the applicant online,
That's
but
right.
considering it's a recorded meeting, it's worth discussing it. So let me get to that one.
This is the rezoning to duplex off of EBNER, right?
Yes, correct. So, once again, on the GIS map. So this is EBNER Road and the property is 335 EBNER Street. Sorry, it's not road, it's street. It's this one right here. Currently it's on R2M and the request is for R3D. He plans on developing the property similar to what the neighbor a little bit north of it did, this guy here. It would be to rezone as a R3D. The R3D has a very limited impervious cover, is only 50% compared to the R2M that is 80%. And he plans on having duplex built on it. It's the exact same situation as it was on the neighbor's property. It doesn't have enough frontage to subdivide an R2M to have 2 units. The only way to build 2 dwellings would be to rezone as a R3D. Everybody that knows the site, when the area will know that there are several duplexes facing EBNER. And the idea is to continue the same use as they have over there.
So back in the day, we didn't have, when these were originally developed over there, we didn't have a duplex zoning. So that's why you've got these older zoning categories. So really, they're kind of bringing them into conformance as to what's going up and down the street, with the exception of some commercial on the western end, I guess, northwestern end there. The majority of those are all duplexes on that side of the street now. But in order for him to build a duplex there, he's got to request the R3D zoning. Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, I talked to him today and he said he was going to be on, but
That's all right. We don't have to. We can answer what we can. The intention is for a duplex. We know that much.
yes, and there is a limit on impervious cover only to 50%. There's the height restrictions and the setbacks. The plan that, even though it's a zoning change, he provided a plan that is it's just like the neighbors. It's 2 units, 2-story. That's
Great.
what they can have. It's very similar.
Anybody, any questions? I know Christina's not going to speak out because she can't speak today. Okay, I see no questions. I guess we'll go ahead and close our meeting tonight. Thank you, everybody, for attending. We appreciate your attention. And we'll talk to you soon.
Goodbye.
Thank you, Sarah.